flat. Why do you say that?
The evidence that we've seen doesn't suggest that what we've been told is true.
What evidence have you seen?
Well, I personally have been to Lake Balaton with FE Core, and we've actually done a laser test from one end of the lake to the... Well, didn't do the full lake because it's massive, but we did a 12-kilometre test, and we could actually see the laser from one end to the other, and since then the guys have actually produced a 40-kilometre laser test.
So this guy with a laser debunks all the pictures?
No, it's not. That's the only thing. It's just an example of some of the experiments.
So, Darren, you were sceptical at first, weren't you? So you thought...
I think it's right to be sceptical about alternative views, but what we never are is sceptical about the mainstream view that we're told since we're children. Over and over again, it's programmed into us.
So what finally convinced you, then?
Well, it took me 6 months. I was sceptical for the first 6 months. And there are a couple of main things. One is water always finds level. So in our own experience in natural physics, you have a cup of tea or a swimming pool or a lake, water is level. But we're led to believe that, well, the Earth is supposed to be 70% water, so at some point water starts curving around a ball. Now, obviously, the answer to that is the magic of gravity.
Yeah.
Now, I believe gravity exists, but only as an effect, not as a cause. So science itself has never proven gravity as a force itself. What is proven is 9.8 meters per squared meters per second squared. 9.8 meters per 9.8 meters per squared meters per second squared is 9.8 meters per 9.8 meters per squared meters per second squared. 9.8 meters per 9.8 meters per squared meters per second squared is the near constant rate of acceleration towards the Earth all over the Earth.
What is happening here?
That's what I'm saying. We don't know, and science has never proven that as a force. Obviously, they have proven it is observable science that things accelerate at the same rate. Yeah, but
and that we're stuck to the ground.
Nobody knows what is actually causing it, and scientists themselves will tell you.
So Sir Isaac Newton got that wrong, did he? Did he just get that completely wrong?
9.8 meters per squared meters per second squared. 9.8 meters per 9.8 meters per squared meters per second squared is 9.8 meters per 9.8 meters per squared meters per second squared is.
Like Brian Cox. Is Brian Cox a liar?
I mean, you'd never call somebody, you know, outright a liar. But is he mistaken? Absolutely. But are most of the world, or 99%, you know, of people mistaken? Yes.
This is what Brian Cox had to say about the flat Earth theory.
Put aside the fact that we've taken photographs of it, and you can see a horizon. And not only can you see the horizon, but you can see things move behind the horizon or in front of the horizon, depending on the height that you choose to look at the things. You see, I'm lost for words. It's probably the most nonsensical suggestion that a thinking human being could possibly make. It is drivel.
So
you see, I'm lost for words. It's probably the most nonsensical suggestion that a thinking human being could possibly make. It is drivel. Drivel.
So that's from a scientist.
He was, and he said something very interesting there. He said it's nonsensical, and we say that's actually not true. What our own senses tell us is that the Earth is stationary.
But nobody's fallen off the edge of it.
Nobody has fallen off the edge of it.
At what point do you fall off the edge?
Can I just respond to what Brian said there? He said things disappeared behind the curve, and one of the main reasons why we believe that the Earth is a fixed stationary plane is because things aren't disappearing as quickly as they should be. We can see cities and mountains and islands 40, 60 or 100 miles. The world photography distance record is 273 miles, right? And we can see the tips of the Pyrenees from the south of France, and you shouldn't be able to see it.
You can't see the base of them.
Well, of course not.
Because the Earth is round.
Not because of the Earth is round, and because of perspective, and because of the way light works, and because of the way our eyes work.
We interviewed on it. One of the highlights of my career, actually, was interviewing Major Tim Peake up in space on the International Space Station.
Right.
Now, he brought in his beautiful book. You see the curvature of the Earth. You very clearly see that it's a circle. So are you telling me that this interview with him, I'm talking to somebody that's just made that up or wasn't actually there.
Yeah, he's not.
Can I just?
He's not in outer space.
Can I just?
Where is he then?
In a Hollywood studio type.
Not necessarily
Hollywood. Maybe
studio,
here. But... Maybe where we are now.
But so you're saying that Tim Peake is alive?
Well, I mean, if you look at Tim Peake and people like Neil Armstrong and all the astronauts, they're all military guys. If you look at them, they're all military. They're not scientists.
No, they're not. No, they're not. 230 individuals from 18 different countries have visited the space station. They were not all military. Some were teachers. We've met some of them, ordinary people. Are all 230 people liars?
Can we just end this debate by saying...
No way can we.
Is 9.8 metres per 9.8 metres per squared metres per second squared is 9.8 metres per 9.8 metres per squared metres per second squared is 9.8 metres per 9.8 metres per squared metres per second squared 9.8 metres per 9.8 metres per squared metres per second squared.
We've got a beautiful globe over here.
It's been going for quite some time.
We've got a fantastic globe over here, right? I'm going to ask ISS, NASA, whatever, to zoom out of the Earth right now and show us planes. Let's zoom to show people walking upside down. Let's do that, and we will... I'll come back here and apologise.
The space station can't zoom out.
Probe out. Can we get a probe out?
We've done
probe out. Can we get a probe out?
We've done that.
Probe out. Can we get a probe out?
We've done that.
It's only 250
of the whole
miles.
Earth and showing aeroplanes flying upside down underneath the globe. Can we see that?
All we see is CGI.
There are apps that can show you that.
What, aeroplanes flying upside down?
Live.
Yes.
No.
Wow.
Yes, there's the live positioning of all the aeroplanes on the world.
Right,
They're on there.
that...
Can you answer me a question? Because I have personally seen with my own eyes the curvature of the Earth.
Is he lying?
Is it the circle
he's a
vision
liar.
of
He's
your...
not a liar, though.
Is it the circle limit of your sight? Because obviously the limit of our eyesight...
I was very lucky,
around you.
and I went on Concorde.
Okay.
So I was very lucky I went on Concorde. So that's 60,000 feet. You could clearly see the curvature of the Earth.
What's the shape
from
of the
Concorde.
windows?
Actually, science...
it was the shape of the windows.
No, I didn't say that. I said, what was the shape of the windows, is what I said.
Like an oval?
Scientists themselves
right?
tell us that you have to be 50 miles up to be able to see the curvature of the globe. An average commercial plane travels at 7 miles, which is around 33,000 feet, 35,000
Which
feet.
Concorde wasn't.
You were about 10 or 12 miles, so we're still, again, way below what scientists themselves tell us.
Oh, I've got so many questions. We're going to...
9.8 metres per 9.8 metres per squared metres per second squared. 9.8 metres per 9.8 metres per squared metres per second squared. 9.8 metres per 9.8 metres per squared metres per second squared. 0.8 metres per 9.8 metres per squared metres per second squared.